Okay, welcome everyone. So glad that you could join us today. Um, Thank you so much to Shirley for being here to answer folks' questions, and thank you all of the participants who were able to join us today. Really glad to have you. Um, my name is Mari Piggott, and I am the West Coast Climate Action Network's new coordinator. And I just started 2 weeks ago, so I'm fairly new. So bear with me as I am learning alongside all of you. Um, and I have been a volunteer on many climate and social justice initiatives for many years, but so I'm very excited and appreciative to get to meet fellow climate advocates who have decided to run for politics. We need people like you all in leadership, and it's not an easy thing to run. So I just want to really appreciate all of you who have decided to run or are supporting candidates who are running in local elections. I also want to begin by recognizing that we are all gathering, I believe, on stolen Indigenous lands. I am a settler on the unceded territories of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh peoples. If you'd like to put what territories you're joining from in the chat, feel free to, um, or do some research during or after this session about what lands you might be calling in from. I think as candidates running in municipal elections within these colonial systems that we all work in, it's very important to think, particularly for settlers like myself, about our relationships to these lands and the peoples of the lands who have been stewarding them since time immemorial, and thinking about our commitments and keeping them at the forefront of our minds, not just when we do land acknowledgements, but in everything we do, including in this case, thinking about social media and how you want to promote yourself and your values as candidates. I also wanted to introduce WeCan, the West Coast Climate Action Network, that is hosting this session and a series of sessions initiated by the local government team. WeCan is, as you probably know, many of you, WeCan is a organization and network that strives to unite the multitude of climate change organizations and groups and initiatives in British Columbia, folks like yourselves who share a deep concern for the global climate emergency and wish to see more urgent action. And WeCan works to serve, support, and amplify and promote these groups and individuals' work. And this event is part of a series of informal learning sessions instigated by WeCan's local government team for climate change champions running in local elections to gain skills for your campaigns. If you haven't signed up yet as a climate champion with WeCan, right after I finish talking, I'll put a link in the chat to sign up as a climate champion for our registry. WeCan doesn't directly endorse candidates, but we do encourage our member groups to endorse candidates, and we will be signal boosting their work. So we'd love to have you sign up with us if you're not already. And without further ado, I want to introduce Shirley Baker, who is the person who's going to be answering questions today and supporting us with her social media knowledge. Shirley Baker is the owner of Rags to Riches digital marketing and has spent years working on marketing concepts, learning trends, and professionally copywriting for various industries from medical to mortgage brokers to coaching to essential oils. Her passions lie in proper marketing strategies for targeting ideal customers, whether using retargeting or building up customer lists from scratch. She has worked with Empty Desk Solution for more than 5 years as a social media manager, moving up into a role as operations manager before launching a digital marketing company of her own, branch out into email marketing, online advertising platforms, it's lots of P words, product, photography, and more. And she has generously volunteered her time to be here today, primarily to answer your questions, as so that you can use social media as effectively as possible in your campaigns. She also generously put together an ebook that I believe you should have got in the reminder emails today. So feel free to give that a peruse. Also, it's got lots of useful information in it. I will turn it over to you, Shirley, if there's anything else you want to say, and then we can start the question and answer.
Mari, can you stop sharing your screen?
Oh, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Lily. Over to Shirley.
Perfect. Thank you. So yes, my background is actually with a social media management company for a number of years. And then I branched off to do a lot of other stuff as well, but I do cover quite a bit of social media still. I've been doing personally social media for my own businesses since 2010, I believe. So Instagram since 2015. I didn't get in right at the beginning, but pretty close. And I've watched all of the changes and all of the frustrations that have come from those changes. So hopefully I have some useful information, but if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Wonderful. Thanks so much, Shirley. So I think, yeah, we'll just open it up to you folks to put any questions that you have in the chat, or also if you'd like to just raise your hand. I can see most of you, or you can use the raise hand function on Zoom by your reactions button, and then we can get some questions going. Go for it. Jerome, I saw first.
Sure, thanks. I appreciate being here and your time and your info you're sharing. I guess I'm a municipal candidate in Richmond, but for any candidates and where you recommend you spend your time if you've got very limited time on which platform? Yeah, I guess I'll start there.
Okay, so the easy answer to that is you can actually do Facebook and Instagram at the same time if you schedule out through the, they call it Meta now, but the business suite, you can actually schedule to go to both platforms at the same time. So if you are doing a post for either one, you can schedule it for both and hit both groups at the same time. I would normally, if you're looking at engagement, I would normally look more, probably Instagram. I think you get better traction for engagement there than you would on Facebook, but you can also test it out yourself to see which one is working better for your particular audience, because what works for someone in one location is not going to be exactly the same for someone in another location, because your audiences are different, and also different places have a different range of ages that tend to vote. So as far as I've heard, the voter turnout is more in the older generation than the younger generation right now. So if that's the case where you are, you would probably want to look more at Facebook than Instagram. But I wouldn't necessarily discount anything if you can somehow either schedule the post to go out on there, or even if you're able to just take some quick videos and put them up in your stories. You can literally put a story up in Facebook and send it to Instagram too. Wherever you can get your posts or your stories or whatever up to, I would suggest doing it that way, but it is easiest if you schedule it in advance.
Yeah, thanks.
Thanks so much. I think that David also, I saw your hand.
Well, yes, my question was pretty much the same as Jerome's, really. I'm running in the Cowichan Valley Regional District to get a seat as a regional district director in Cobble Hill area. And I guess that's my concern is the large voting block tends to be the senior citizens. And at least in our part of the world, most of those senior citizens tend to be conservative senior citizens. So it's not just about reaching the demographic. It's about I guess tailoring the message to make sure that you can at least attract some of the maybe closet progressives that might exist amongst the largely conservative people who are the ones that are going to show up to the polls.
Your message is very important. That is very true. Also, I think it's important to encourage people to vote. So even if you're message is about your platform, having more people turn out to vote in general is going to be a better thing. So if you can tailor your message around what you're doing and what your platform is and how you're interacting, but also encouraging people to get out there and actually vote too.
Thanks, David and Shirley. Go for it, Tara or Tara.
Yeah, thank you, Mary. Shirley, I just wanted to ask about Twitter. How impactful is Twitter? Because right now I'm on Facebook and Twitter, and I'm going to try your Instagram, scheduling. I think that would be good. But what would you say about Twitter?
Twitter is, well, it's very different because it's not as visual as the other ones. So everything that you have to say in words, and you generally have to say it more than once, because once you tweet something, it's pretty much gone right away. So anything that you are doing on Twitter, you'd want to have in a repetitive cycle if it's important information. It does tend to skew towards political a little bit more. So there is an audience there in that regard. But I think Twitter is where people go to have like conversations, but more so dialogue and less so relationships. So I think if you're wanting to do Twitter, absolutely give it a try. But I would suggest like multiple times posting the same thing to try and hit the audience that you're looking for.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks to the folks who are writing in the chat that they have questions. I'll get you in the lineup. Over to you, Allison.
Yeah, hi. My camera is not great, so I'm not sure you'd see me, so I'll just keep it off for now. So I'm joining from South Territory, and I'm running as a trustee. And I just have a question around social media presence and kind of the messages that you put out there. And I sometimes find, and I don't know if this is just my own personal perception or concern, but I feel very passionate about the work that I've done with climate action, and something it comes through when I talk about it. But sometimes I worry that people might think that this is the only thing that I value, and so sometimes I might hold back on maybe some of the things that I've done. So I'm just, I guess my question is just how do you find that balance between, being able to represent yourself accurately and also speak about the things that you're really passionate about?
So in terms of your passions are going to come through in how you're tailoring your message anyway, because that's the basis for who you are and what you're doing. I'm not sure that I would specifically navigate away from them. I would try and put some personality into some of your posts as well. So build up who you are apart from just what your platform is, to give people an idea of what they're voting for apart from just your platform. Because there are people that do vote just for certain things, but there are a lot of people that actually get involved in who they're voting for. Like what your background is, what you're doing, what you stand for, but you as a person as well. So if you can get a bit more out there, you'll create a better relationship with those people, and then they'll be more inclined to vote for you when it comes time. Like they'll remember your name, they'll remember who you are, how you made them feel about whatever the situation was they were engaging with you on. So I think it is important to put out what's important to you, absolutely, but also stuff that is about you. I don't know if you have family or if you want to put that out there. A lot of people don't want to put their kids on the internet. That's fine too. But things that are important to you are important to have on your social, in my opinion, anyway. And it's similar to building up a brand that way too, right? So people want to get to know who's behind that brand or that platform or whatever. They just want to have a deeper dive into who you are, and that's how they're using their social in this case.
Thanks so much, Allison and Shirley, for that great question. I think we'll go to Sarah, and then Anne, I see your hand up. We'll go to you after that. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Sarah Rush. I'm actually standing as a candidate in Whistler. And I have a question. So I've had a kind of a personal Facebook page, and I'm currently a registered dietitian. So I have, Sarah Rush Facebook for friends and family. Then I have the Sarah Rush RD Facebook. Now, I really feel like obviously I need to have another Facebook page for the candidacy and just to have the political things on so people then don't spew into my personal Facebook page. I mean, I can change the settings. How do you recommend doing that? What sort of Facebook page should I start? I know it's going to be pretty empty right now, but should I do, Sarah Rush, Whistler candidate, or how best to do that?
For your page, I would definitely start with your name because that's how people would search for you if they're searching.
Yeah.
If you wanted to hyphenate it with whatever location you are, what title do you use when you introduce yourself to people?
Well, because like the nomination, we're not supposed to, put RD or letters or anything after our name. I mean, at the moment, I just introduced myself as Sarah Rush.
Okay.
So, but the problem is, of course, I've got a personal Facebook page, Sarah Rush, and I don't necessarily want to delete that and start a new one. So I'm just wondering how people are kind of navigating just having a Facebook page with their name for the campaign period.
It depends on each person's preferences too. So in terms of some people, I think they switch over their personal. I would do a page, and there's different designations for your Facebook page to choose from. So I would probably do one for your candidacy. You can also take down the page when it's done if you don't want it anymore, or you can keep growing it if you're running it again later. So it's not a waste of time to do it that way, especially if this is an ongoing thing for you, because you can keep growing your page. Even if you're going to do it next time or whichever, it's a way for you to continue to interact with people. So I would definitely set it up that way. I'm not sure what title would be best for you to use. Maybe candidate for Whistler, or however it is that you normally title that position, so that when people search for your name, they can see which page exactly they're looking for. I think that would probably be the best way to go about it.
And then just start it, because it doesn't matter. They don't need to have a lot of history on it. They just need to know what I'm going to say now. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
And you can, if you want to cheat and make it look like it's older than it is, you can actually edit your posts and backdate them. So you can make it look like it's been there a little bit longer.
Yeah, I know on a blog you could do that. I didn't realize you could do that on the Facebook.
Yeah, once you post something on Facebook, if you click on the 3 dots at the top, then you can choose edit date and then backdate them.
Right. Okay. Now, because my Twitter account, I don't really have that much on, and it's under Sarah Rush RD, and I'll keep that going because it's been very political anyway. So that's fine. But it was just a Facebook, and then I will make sure my privacy settings on my personal one is like super high.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe I can switch that off for a little while anyway. I don't know if there's a way of doing that. Can you just switch off your page for a little while?
You can deactivate it. I think there's a grace period on it, but I would just put your privacy settings really high.
Yeah. Okay. Super. Thank you for the answer.
No problem.
Thanks so much, Sarah. Just want to let folks know that I'm seeing when the hands go up and when you're putting things in the chat, and I'm creating a little list of order of folks to go. So thanks, Jen, and everyone who's letting me know. I think next on the list is Anne.
Hi, thank you. So I am currently a trustee in School District 61 in Victoria, and not that I've announced yet, but I will do one more round. So just to give you context, I just wanted to comment when somebody keeps putting in about not being the one campaign issue, and I think that's really important. But I do think that when we are talking about just about any issue, there is always that lens of climate change and action that we can put on it. So just be willing, I think, to whoever keeps asking, be willing to you're thinking it in your head, that broader picture of how each issue does have that other piece to it. So just don't be afraid to always make that connection, would be my thoughts there. And I also, for me, I have used social media, but not a huge amount. What I found was the most helpful for me was to get all of my friends to share. And it might seem like it's the obvious, but oh my goodness, for some reason, getting your friends to share is a challenge. Get them to do that. Those are like my biggest for you out there. But my real question is how would you deal with negative or destructive comments? Not that I plan on having any, but let's be prepared. It's a little crazy here in Victoria.
I understand. I think I actually have something in the book about that too, about how you should have a strategy in place before you start, just so you know how you're going to deal with it. Some people just delete them. They don't respond to them. It's a no negative zone, but because it's political, that makes it a little bit hard because people think you're hiding something. I would recommend anything that's like derogatory or like really bad, definitely delete it because you just don't need it on your page. Anything that is a valid question or concern, I would answer it, and I would answer it in as polite a fashion as you possibly can, because the question's not always going to be polite, but take the high road in everything that you're doing online, because people will screenshot it and use it against you later if they have to, or if they want to, basically. So yeah, anything that you don't want to tolerate, don't tolerate. It is, after all, your page or your Instagram or your whatever, and you don't have to put up with it if it's not appropriate. Anything that you do have an actual answer for, even if it's, I don't know, I'll look into it and get back to you, appropriate. Just I wouldn't ignore people that you can respond to, especially if it's a justified concern or question. Does that help?
Yeah, no,
Okay.
thank you. Very good.
Thanks so much. And over to you, Kate.
Hi, so I'm here with David, who's also on the call. And I just have a question about similar to Sarah's. For when you're posting and the page that you use, so for Facebook, we have just a candidate page, but then for Instagram, I was wondering if it would be better to do something like Team Slate or do like a team thing and have it be as an account that's working to get the candidate elected, or if you're better to post as the candidate, if that makes sense.
It depends on your preferences. Honestly, I think most people, if they're looking for a candidate, they're looking for their personal account to get to know them better.
Okay.
So if you're doing like a team page, it may not seem like it's you that's running it. So, I mean, almost anybody could run something that says team whatever, but they're looking more for like an official page. You could actually do both of them if it's like a group thing that you wanted to put together and your individual campaigning. It's just how you want to set it up for yourself and how much time you have, because the more pages you have, the more content you have to come up with. So I would ideally probably do your own, just so that you can be the personality behind it and people know that it's you.
Thank you so much.
No problem.
Thanks, Kate. Wow, I am learning so much. Thank you, Shirley. Over to you, Jen.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, I don't know if my video worked, but it doesn't really matter. So I had two questions. One is I use an alias on Facebook, so that's not an issue in terms. But what I want to do is like I imagine that I would have a page that would have my real name, and then I would like two things. Like I'd like to pick some of my friends, but not all of my friends from my that to like spread out the candidate Facebook account. And then also like I have a day job, so it would be unfortunate if like really negative comments came up and then sat there all day while I'm at work and I can't like do both. Is there a way to set up a page so that comments aren't posted until I'm able to like vet them? And so if they're like respectful or like thoughtful and like something to be responded to, like those get up, but not anything negative or like childish or things like that. is it possible to set up a Facebook page in that way?
There is the ability for posts. I'm just trying to think what the best scenario would be for the actual
Shirley, it sounds like some folks couldn't hear the question. Would you mind paraphrasing it before you answer it?
Okay, no, I had to
Thanks
try
so
that.
much.
Basically, she was asking, because she works full time, if she does have negative or disruptive comments coming in on her posts while she's not able to monitor them, if there was a way of turning off the comments temporarily. I don't know that it would work as well as you think it would, just because then nobody could comment at all if you're turning them off until like that, you know, a little bit of time that you have. It just depends if you even want the comments. So there's the option of just not even wanting comments at all. You're just putting the information out there, and the feedback is what it is, or people can DM you if they really want something. Or you can add an extra admin to your page that can help you monitor them as well. Honestly, that would probably be ideal, because if you leave the comments open to have a more open dialogue with the people who are following you, just because you're not available, if you can find someone else that might be able to like get them on their notifications on their phone, or however it is that you want to set it up, that way you do have more than one set of eyes, just to make sure that things are going smoothly. I think that would probably be the best option for keeping everything open and moving forward. But yes, there are ways that you can set it up. I can't think of it off the top of my head how you would do the comments for a set time, but I can look into it and let you know, because I know they used to have something, but I think they've changed a bunch of stuff, and I don't know exactly where it is, so I don't want to tell you and be wrong. So I'll look into it and let you guys know.
Thanks so much. Maybe if anyone's interested in hearing the answer to that question, they could put their email address in the chat so we could follow up with you directly about that. Thanks so much. Let's see. John posted a question in the chat that was a little bit similar to something that was asked earlier, but I'm going to read it out. And if you want to add to it at all, Shirley, you can. And if you feel like there's not much to add, that's great. How do you convey climate crisis solutions without being seen as a single issue candidate, regardless of the social media platform?
I mean, you would just include them in your strategy entirely. So when you're going about doing a social media platform thing, you create a strategy generally. So you can start with something like your content pillars. So things that you want to post about, frequently asked questions, information about me, whatever it is that you think would be ideal for your target. A lot of people like doing motivational Mondays, or things that are uplifting and encouraging, and then some of the traction on their other issues or their platform base. So in that case, you could use the climate crisis solutions and additional pieces that are important to you to round out a full strategy for your social media. And then you wouldn't be seen as just one issue, because you have other things that you're posting about as well.
Wonderful, thank you. I see there's a bunch of hands. I hope I've gotten them in the right order, but we'll go to Kate. I think you put your hand up again.
Yeah, hi. I was just wondering if you have any strategies for like planning ahead. I know you can plan ahead, or like with Meta that you were talking about before, how you can post to Facebook and Instagram at the same time through that. And I'm just wondering if there's any other resources that you recommend to stay organized or plan ahead, like looking at events that are coming up down the road, or like if you wanted to plan kind of the rest of the campaign, say, is there anything you'd suggest for that?
I usually do content calendars a month at a time. So what I do is I have Google Drive set up, and then I'll put the calendar in there. I'll write down all of the days that pertain to something that we want to post about. So there's resources like what is it, National Calendar Days. There's like days of the year that have interesting features like National Beer Lovers Day or whatever. They probably don't pertain to much of what you're doing, but there could be something that you could utilize for some of your content on that as well. So I'll write those ones out in the content calendar. I'll write out any dates that I need to make sure are on there, and then I'll create posts around that. So the best way to do that would be to create the copy or the writing or however you want to convey the issue. And then I use Canva to actually create posts. So any of the imagery, I'll even do some of the reels and stuff in there because it's a little bit easier sometimes than trying to do it on the fly. And then you can post in Canva actually connects into Facebook as well. So you can post directly from Canva, but I use Meta because I find it a little bit easier. And because I do a lot of e-commerce and branding, I can connect to certain pages and items a little bit easier that way. But for you, you can choose what works best for you. I think Hootsuite used to have a free version. I don't know if it still does, but you could look into things like Hootsuite, or Canva's paid account also lets you do that, or Meta is free. So that's why I usually tell people to go for Meta, because it's a free version that you can use anyway. And then once you have your calendar done, it gives you the ability to post it out ahead in advance, and you're not spending every day trying to figure out what you're going to come up with or trying to log on that day to post. It's already done for you. And any extra time that you have, you can use to actually engage with the audience. So if people are commenting on your posts, or you can actually go searching for other candidates in your field or start a dialogue with someone else, and you're not worried about posting constantly because you've already done it. So I would recommend looking into doing a content calendar for sure.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Great. Next on my list is Mary.
Hey, I found my unmute. I was wondering about trying to manage all of the different groups, and I have my personal Facebook page, and then I made a campaign Facebook page, and it likes to switch just happily between when I'm not expecting it to. Sometimes I do have control over switching in theory, but I also just find if I click on notifications, I sometimes flip around, and then I'm not getting as much posting on my campaign Facebook page as I would like, but people already, see me in other Facebook groups. So is this is something I have to live with because I've made a mess out there on Facebook, or is there a way to get people to come on over to the campaign page? Or
So the switching thing is relatively newish. I've found, because I have like a ton of different clients, that if I click on one of their notifications, I'm suddenly posting as them. So that one is a little bit frustrating for people who do have more than one account. I'm not a fan of it, but it's easy to switch back because there's actually like a little picture of you at the top with a little spinny arrow.
yeah,
If you
so
click on
that
that,
is the way. So if I do switch and I want to switch back, I just switch back. Okay.
Yeah, they do make that part easy, but it's hard to know right away that you've done it, unfortunately, until you start scrolling and you're like, these are not my normal posts, these are not my friends. So yes, that part is a frustrating one, but I don't know how to turn it off. I don't think it's a feature that's been designed yet. But if you are careful with what you're doing, it shouldn't be too much of an issue. And if you started your pages, like if you have pages that you've created, or groups, sorry, that you've created, you can actually post to them through Meta as well. You can schedule into your own groups. You can't schedule into groups you're just a part of, only the ones that you've started, but it makes it easier if you do have groups that are about your campaign to also post into there and schedule that out ahead of time.
Does the Meta work with my personal Facebook page versus they're kind of different? It's a political campaign page versus, like, I just find I have way different options between the two types of Facebook account.
The pages would work through the Meta Business Scheduler, depending on the types of pages, because they do have different pages. They may look slightly different because there are different rules and regulations for certain things. So you'd have to double check what you've set your pages up as, because it will change what features they allow you to have.
So I'm not crazy. Like my old Facebook that I've had forever, it doesn't do that much, but it's my personal page. That's where my family is. I'll just live with the fact that it doesn't do much. I can share between, I guess this is too specific, but I get lost in these weeds of what am I sharing to which page, and should I post on my campaign page first and then share it to my other page, or should I do it the other way around?
That's all a preference, but I think your profile and your page are different. So when you've set up your Facebook as your personal, like a million years ago, that's your profile. It's not actually a specific page on Facebook. So if you're searching for a person, it will come up with your profile. And that's what you can actually set all the privacy levels and everything to, if you want to make sure that people that are looking for you aren't finding that page too easily, or any of the information on it. The actual page is more like a business page or a creator page, or however you've set it up. And that is not your profile. That's an actual page for Facebook. And I think that's that might be what's confusing in this regard, is that there's a profile that's you, and then there's a page that you've set up separately. That's your business or your candidacy, or however you've set up that page. But your profile should be the main thing that it logs you in under every time, because that is your personal account. So everything else is connected to your personal account. You need to be in your personal account to set up any page or do anything basically on Facebook. Outside of that, your pages are separate from that. Does that help, or did I just confuse
no,
it?
that's great. Thank you. That's a
Okay.
good way to like think about, what's in control of what. It's good. Thank you.
Thanks, Mary. And Tara or Tara, I think you're next.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks so much, Mary. I'm so sorry I didn't mention. I've just been so jet lagged. I've come from India, so I'm running actually in Burnaby for City Council, and I've been doing, the switch between your personal account on Facebook and your page, your whatever candidacy page. And like Mary, I was now thinking that, I'm gaining more traction on my Facebook, your personal page. Should you be posting regularly, perhaps every day on your page, was one of my questions. And the other thing is, I'm going to try your Instagram because, with the meta setting. And how much should you spend on social media? I mean, when do you think people get fatigued? I mean, you yourself as a candidate, how much time should you be spending on all these various social medias?
The amount of time that you're spending is really personal to you. So like how much time you have, how much time you want to take away from your family, whether you have another job that you're working on, all of those things. So how much time you spend on it is entirely based on how much time you have to spend on it, and how much time you want to spend on it, because it does become a rabbit hole for a lot of people, and you get sucked into your 15 minutes to just post something is now 2 hours of scrolling through everybody's stuff. So I don't know. I think if you are short on time and you're concerned about it, I would set timers. You can also set it up so that your Instagram doesn't allow you on between certain hours if you find that that's becoming an issue. But as far as a certain amount of time, there is no minimum or maximum, I would say, that would be ideal. I would suggest at least 15 minutes a day of trying to engage with people on there. So build up your engagement, because that'll help your following as well. But outside of that, it is entirely preferential for you.
Okay, thank you. Thanks.
No problem.
Wonderful. Kate, do you have your hand up again, or is it left over from before?
I do, but I also acknowledge that I'm asking quite a lot of questions. So if somebody else wants to go, I don't want to.
No one else has put their hand up, so why don't you go now? But I will encourage those who are joining, feel free to ask questions. It's just a question and answer with Shirley, who has a wealth of knowledge. And feel free, or those of you who've been here for a while, feel free to put your hand up or put questions in the chat, or just unmute if you don't know how to do that. Thanks. Go for it, Kate.
I was just wondering, one of the things I noticed is it seems that now some pages have a follow instead of a like. And in the past, it always seemed that it was, you could like a page or like it or follow it. And now with the page that we've created, you can only follow it. There's no option to like it. And I'm just wondering if you could explain that. I'm just concerned that that someone might be more inclined to like a page versus to follow it, because when I think of follow, I think of, getting all the news and yeah, I was just wondering if you could talk about that.
So before they did have a like and follow. I think it got confusing for a lot of people. So I haven't seen it as much now. I think some of the older pages still had it the last time I looked, but I think most of them are just follow. I'm trying to think. I haven't actually delved into that change. So I'm not 100% sure on why they changed it, but I know people used to get confused about whether they're following a page or they just liked it. So at one point, if you liked a page, it was in your list regardless. And I think you were following all of their posts. And I think they've changed that now, but I don't actually know why or what their reason was to get rid of it. But I haven't seen both of them together on a page in a while. So the answer is I'm not 100% sure.
Okay, thank you.
Go ahead, Lily. Oh, you're muted, I think.
Is it worth time spending posting little videos on TikTok with the hope that you might get a younger audience that might then come out and vote?
So there's been discussion about TikTok on that basis because there is quite a lot of audience on TikTok. The problem is that it is, or it tends to be very time intensive to try and do TikTok videos, and the results are inconclusive about whether that helps in this particular situation. So if you're doing e-commerce or you're a brand or any of that, it's really easy to tell if it's working for you because there's sales or there's no sales, and then you know that it's working or it's not working. In this case, even if you did TikTok, unless it was the only thing that you did, it would be really hard to track it specifically to that in terms of voting. And because it is a younger audience, it is a little bit up in the air. Having said that, there are a lot of political people who do use TikTok and find that it does help them connect with their audience. So if you're going to be doing reels for Instagram, you can actually go and pop them on TikTok as well and see if you can grab traction there. But in terms of using TikTok itself, it's not, so far it hasn't proven to be an amazing resource politically, as far as anybody I've talked to. So I would say it's an add-on if you have the time to do it, but I'm not sure it's something that you should devote all your time to.
Thanks so much. I just saw a political TikTok that took off of Angelia Padarai. So yeah, just, I don't know, fun fact. You never know. But thanks so much, Shirley. Over to you, Mark.
Hi. You just a little while ago, somebody mentioned amplifying posts and increasing reach and reaching out to friends, whoever. Has anybody come up with a particularly great strategy for that? I hate nagging people to do things. And I just wondered if you'd come up with anything that's worked really well that doesn't annoy more than it motivates.
Not really. To be
That's
honest,
what that was my suspicion, but I thought you might go, yes, do this.
I mean, anything that you do can rub people the wrong way on social media. So like, if you're trying to not be annoying, this is probably not the platform for that. But obviously there's going to be people who support you and they want to support you and they're happy to share your stuff, and that's amazing. You can definitely use some like general language in your posts about, I would love this if you could like share this with your friends or on your page or whatever, and leave it open-ended for them whether they want to or not. Sorry, it's really windy. Otherwise, I know people get traction with ads, and it's a little bit easier for them than bugging people they know to share their stuff. They just feel like if they pay for it and get it out there to a wider audience, and they don't have to like rely on people to do it, but then you're spending money. So it's not quite as ideal as like the free version of getting your friends and family to share it. But there's definitely some benefit to just asking. I mean, if you're not constantly doing it, it's not really that bad, I think, in my opinion anyway. I've got a lot of friends who've been in political stuff, and they post stuff and they're like, if you agree with me or if you like this post, you can share it to your friends and your family, and like hopefully we can get something going there. But in terms of not being annoying about it, I think it's just in how you write it, in the copy that you're using, in how you word what you're saying, and how often you post the request is my idea anyway.
Awesome. Thanks.
No problem.
Thanks, Mark, for jumping in. I've got Mary and then Tara. Tara.
I haven't been very good with Instagram. I'm finding the formatting of the pictures is different than I'm liking. I don't know if the programming would help, if this meta thing would help. But I've been having to make a Facebook post with the picture and then go in and make another Instagram post with the photo. And they're not the same as the Twitter. I just slap stuff in there. It seems to work great. I just like screenshot something. So I'm wondering about the formatting of Instagram. Is there something I'm doing wrong that's not allowing, like Facebook and Instagram don't share for me. I keep doing them separately. And then my other question was about actually doing Reels. Is Reels better than just posting a video? Like I take a short video with my phone or whatever, and then can I just throw a video in, or is Reels, well, I haven't dabbled in Reels.
Okay, so the first part was you're having trouble getting the pictures to post to Instagram, or you're having trouble with the sizing of them?
I make a Facebook post, and then when I go to Instagram, I make an Instagram post. So I'm not sure how to do like the one post, and then it just like, you know, if I share my Facebook post, I share it somewhere else. It's the same exact post. It just goes there. But am I missing something? How do I share to Instagram, or how do I from Instagram share to Facebook?
Okay, so in that case, you can definitely, I would suggest that you would schedule them rather than share them, just because sometimes it loses something in translation. For Instagram, there's actually 2 sizes for their images now. So they used to have the square, and now they've got the longer version as well, which is what Reels are usually posted in. For Facebook, they usually have the elongated version. So if you're posting in Instagram and pushing it to, or posting it in Facebook and pushing it to Instagram, you're going to end up with some of your image getting cut off, because that's not the sizing that Instagram uses. You would actually be better off using an Instagram size and pushing it to Facebook, generally speaking, because it's a little bit smaller on Instagram. So you don't lose as much if you're posting it the other way. I would definitely recommend looking at the meta to schedule it out, because it will give you a view of each one on the side as you're scheduling it. So once you bring up the picture, it will show you what it's going to look like when it's posted, and then you can tell whether it's going to work or not. And if you're struggling with the size or the formatting of your images, throw them into Canva, choose the size that you're looking for, whether it's Instagram tall or Instagram square or real or however. Canva actually has it set up with the exact sizing that you need, and it makes it so much easier than trying to format stuff on your phone or as you're going along, if it's not fitting how you want it to fit, or if you need to move any of the elements around.
So in Canva, there's like an Instagram sizing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Canva has all the sizing. So you can size it for Facebook, you can size it for Facebook ads, you can size it for Facebook's banner images on your pages, you can size it for your profile image, you can size email signatures. There's like, Canva has a million different sizing options to make sure that your images are fitting better in each of the platforms. And you can use the same image and just literally click resize. Yay.
Cool. And then Reels, sorry, that was the second part of my question. I could wait though if other people want to go. I heard actually that the algorithm really likes Reels and we should all be doing it, but I haven't done it. It is
a thing that Reels are being promoted. Actually, sometimes when you log into Instagram and you're going through your feed, it will be all Reels. You won't even see any images anymore, because they're really pushing the Reels, and they're pushing the Reels because they're trying to compete with TikTok. So the more they can get the video that engages people, like the short form videos, the more people will stay on the platform. And that's obviously their ideal goal now that they have advertisements on Instagram. So if you stay longer, you'll see more advertisements, they get more revenue. And definitely, if you do have videos, you can post them as a reel. So all you would do is press the plus sign and then choose reel instead of post, because they actually don't have a video option on there, but it's reel or post. Try doing it as a reel. You can put music over it. You can choose not to. Some people even put pictures as a reel now, just to try and get the traction as a reel, even though it's just a picture. Or you can animate it in Canva really quickly and then upload it as a reel as well.
Wow, so many facets, and it's cool to hear that you understand what the corporations are trying to get. Thank you. Over to you, Tara.
Yeah, I was just wondering if people are retweeting your tweet, is that gaining traction, or is that just to make you feel happy? I mean, are you reaching more people, or is it?
You would be, and because they're retweeting it to their feed as well. Obviously, if they're really popular or people are going to see it more from them, that's ideal. Most of the time, it's not going to do too much, just because tweets are very short-lived. So even if they retweet it, unless they have a huge audience that follows them, it's probably only like a couple extra people that'll see it, but it's still more than just on your own. So definitely, if you're getting retweets, I'd be happy with it.
Yeah. And what about followers? If your followers are kind of going up, is that I don't know, good sign that people are?
It used to be. Especially for Instagram, the more followers you had, the better your account, but it's actually not that way anymore. It's all about engagement. So you can have like one of my account has almost 15,000 followers from like when I started ages ago, but it actually doesn't have a lot of engagement because I haven't been in it very often. So anytime I post anything, it doesn't have the same engagement it used to. Whereas some of my clients, they only have a couple thousand followers, but they're getting all these likes and all these comments and stuff because we're in there and we're engaging, and we're getting traction that way. And the algorithm actually prefers that. So it'll push those posts out, even though you don't have as many followers. You can check if you have a business account on Instagram, you can view the insights, and it will actually show you where people are coming from when they come to like your stuff. And it's very useful to find that like a lot of times you're getting more on like the Instagram pages and stuff that they're pushing your content out based on your engagement, not on your follower count. So I would be more concerned about having engagement at this point on anything than followers, but it's always nice to see your numbers growing. Like, not gonna lie, the vanity metrics are still nice to have.
Okay, thanks.
I'm going to read out the question from Sarah in the chat. Can I put public or government service down as the business description on Facebook?
As government, or I wouldn't put government. It's probably like a public figure type of thing. Just because if you put a government service, they're going to think it's an actual like government entity.
Right. Okay. Because it does ask when you create the page, because I just looked at how to do, Sarah Rushville Whistler Council, and it asks you, to put what type of page is this, etc. So, right. So we just put down public.
Yeah, I think it's the public figure one is the one that most people are using. I'm trying to remember what the other one was. There was two at one point, and I can't remember what the other one was, but most of the pages that I've been viewing are public figure.
Right. Okay, super. Thank you for that.
No problem.
I just see in the chat, Mark also said it also allows political candidate on Facebook.
Perfect. Okay.
Yeah. Allison, I think this might be our last question from Allison. Do you have any tips for using hashtags?
Yeah, actually, there are hashtag generators if you look them up on Google. So you can pull up a hashtag generator, type in whatever it is that you're trying to create hashtags from. It will actually let you check off which ones that you want and create a list that you can copy. And then you can put it, if you're using your phone, you can put it in a notes. I'm an iPhone user, so I put them in my notes, and you can copy and paste them when you're posting. The ideal that you're trying to look for in terms of hashtags to get traction is under 1 million, because once you find hashtags that have over 1 million posts, you're going to get lost in the shuffle. You're not going to get as much traction from them. So the ideal is usually between 200,000 and like 800,000, because it shows you on there how many times they've been used. If you look at those ones, you're more likely to be found using those hashtags than anything that's higher. So everybody that's using Instagood or photo of the day or whatever, they're using it because it's got millions and millions and millions of posts, but there's also millions and millions and millions of other people using that post or that hashtag for their posts. So ideally, you want to look at smaller numbers, but not in sequential numbers. So if they've got like 10 posts, nobody's looking for that hashtag. It's not ideal, but you can still use it if it triggers for you. But yes, hashtags are super important for things like Instagram. And I would highly recommend getting a list together of the hashtags that work for you. And if you have a business profile on Instagram, view insights on your posts and it'll tell you how many people came from hashtags. So it'll give you an idea of whether or not those hashtags are working for you based on people finding you through them.
Okay, it's 6:27. I don't want to keep you all longer than we need to. If there's any last burning questions, maybe you can stick them in the chat and perhaps I can send them over to Shirley and sorry if I'm volunteering you, Shirley, perhaps she'll be able to answer them or not. This was incredible. Shirley, you are just a wealth of information and you talk very fast. So we get to, no, it's great. We get to get so much of it in such a short period of time. Thank you so much. I will just pop WeCan's website as well as, again, the climate champion registration in the chat. If you haven't already registered, probably many of you have because I sent it to all the registrations, but if you haven't, please do register. And yeah, just again, a huge thank you to everyone who came and to Shirley for volunteering your time to do this, and all of you for volunteering to run. So really so much appreciation. And I'm seeing that in the chat. So thank you to everyone. And I think we'll end the recording. If anyone wants to stick around and chat with me about WeCan's candidate registration or anything, feel free. But I'll let you all go. Have a lovely evening.
Mari, if anybody does have any questions, they can email you or whatever and send them to me. I'm happy to answer anything after as well.
Wonderful.
Thank you very much.
Thanks,
Thank you very
everybody.
much.